Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to episode 5 of Unfiltered. I see you guys are already crunk in the chat. Welcome. I see you. Good morning. Let me know who's here. Good morning, Centrell. Good morning, Dee. I see Gifty out there. Good morning, Sandra Love. Welcome to Unfiltered with BC Wright. I see you, Princess Kendrick. I see you, Yvonne. You guys were on early today, so thank you guys for showing up and showing out. So listen, guys, like and share, like and share. We have a really exciting episode for you guys today. And let me tell you something, we're super excited just to have each and every one of you join us every single Wednesday at 9 a.m. We do not take it for granted, and we really appreciate you guys. But you know what? You can do me a huge favor. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can like and share, because that helps the algorithm so that more people will see episodes of Unfiltered. And we've got some great information that we're going to be sharing. And we always do every single Wednesday. So you guys, this is an interactive show. We want everybody to join in the conversation. You guys can see people participating in the chat. I can see your comments. If you are on my YouTube page, I can see your comments. If you're on my Facebook page, so to interact, hey, Pamela, Cannon is on the broadcast with us. So to interact with us, guys, make sure that you're tuning in from one of those pages. I do love the watch parties, though, as well. But if you want to participate and be blessed, make sure you're participating on one of those segments. And guys, let's go ahead and get started. You know how we start every single week. We're going to talk about today in history. So today is April 7th. I wonder, looking at the picture there, do any of you guys know who this gentleman is? Do any of you recognize him? I know we have some people on the call who are from Ohio. You might actually recognize him. This gentleman, his name is Timothy Thomas. And 20 years ago today, he lost his life to the hands of a white police officer in Cincinnati. The reason this is so relevant is because it sparked 3 days of rioting. But more importantly, just 3 weeks before he was shot and killed at point blank range, the American Civil Liberties Union had filed a complaint against the police department of the city of Cincinnati. Why? Because they had identified 30 years of racial profiling. Let me tell you what's interesting. It's interesting that this is the anniversary of his death, as well as the beginning of those riots in Cincinnati. And we're still dealing with some of the same stuff today. So if you look at this picture, this is a picture from back in 2001 where people are marching and they're saying, we're tired of talking, stop killing us. And here we are watching the George Floyd trial 20 years to the date later. We're watching it, the world is watching it, and America's relationship with race is on trial. So that's one of the things that happened. But you know what else happened, guys? This year, back in 2003, your wonderful Supreme Court of the United States, there was a landmark decision regarding the Ku Klux Klan that was made. The Supreme Court voted 6-3 to uphold this Virginia law that made it illegal for people to burn crosses as an act of intimidation. Now, they upheld the law, but they said that it was unconstitutional to include that it had to be an act of intimidation. What does that mean? That means that there really is no law against burning the cross, only if you can prove they did it as a sign of intimidation. The interesting part is most of us know that if someone's burning a cross and they're part of the KKK, it's an act of intimidation. But in 2003, of course, for protecting free speech, the Supreme Court found that it was an act of free speech, as long as you couldn't prove that there was intimidation involved. So that also happened today, back in 2003. What else do we have happening in history, guys? Today we are celebrating Billie Holiday. You guys probably recognize that beautiful woman right there. She's actually known as Lady Who Sings the Blues, but she's also known for her role in civil rights. Have you guys heard of this song called Strange Fruit? Strange Fruit was actually about lynching and the blood that would be found on the trees. And I actually didn't know that. I learned that. But anyway, she was born today in 1915, and her music still lives on, even though she has passed away. So guys, we are going to go ahead and dive into today's segment. I'm really excited about it. So we're going to get to it quicker than usual. But I did want to start by talking about the Be Blessed segment. So guys, if you're a regular on the show, then you already know that each and every week we give away some cold hard cash. Today is going to be no different. And last month we also announced that we're going to be increasing the giving. Today is going to be no different. But we want to make sure that the winners are also going to receive an Unfiltered t-shirt. I was able to send a couple of those out last week, so I'm excited about that. So the winner's going to get one today too. I also had someone inbox me and ask how could they buy one, which was amazing because I'm going to use those proceeds to just go to the giving and give it right back to the community. So if you're interested in one of the t-shirts, you can contact us at beblessed@bcwright.com as well. Otherwise, you can get one for free when you win the Be Blessed segment. Now, here's the deal. Today, I am going to share with you who the sponsor is. And then we're going to get into the segment and we're going to come back later and do the giveaway. Why? Because I want to make sure that the people at the beginning see the sponsor and the people who are here at the end also see the sponsor. So guys, this show is going to be sponsored today by none other than, drum roll please, Flucus team, the Flukas team. Guys, thank you so much to Frank and Katrina Flukas of the Flukas Realty team. Guys, they are our realtors. Okay, period, point blank. They are our realtors. We're excited to have them in our lives as our real estate company. They actually sold us the house that we currently live in. They do lives every other Tuesday at 8 o'clock p.m. So make sure you guys are tuning into them. You see their phone numbers, take a picture, take a screenshot, welcome Loretta Wilkins, and make sure that you're supporting them because they are actually contributing a portion to today's broadcast for today's segment. So guys, that being said, we're going to go ahead and flip it over to the Stay Woke segment, guys, where you guys can already see today we're going to be having an, oh, my guest just arrived, but we're going to be having an episode of He Said, She Said. But before I introduce our special guest today, guys, remember, we're not doing the giveaway right now, but you might want to invite some other folks and you might want to tell them to subscribe. Those who were here last week know why I said that. So invite some other folks, tell them to subscribe. Guys, I'm excited about today's segment because I get to premiere, and I always envisioned when I started Unfiltered that I would get to do a segment with my wonderful husband and partner in life, who's also a brilliant attorney. I always knew I would get to do a segment with him because we share some different and unique perspectives on things. So we're going to get to do that today. But before we jump into it, I want to talk to you a little bit about some things that are in the American Rescue Plan of 2021, formerly known as the CARES Act. Guys, I see you. Jackie is telling us she got her t-shirt. Amazing. Guys, let me tell you something. I went digging through it and read the entire thing because there's things that we need to know. For example, did you guys know that there are guaranteed monthly payments built into the new plan for people who have children and are eligible to receive them? Did you guys know that? We're going to talk about that today because those payments are supposed to start in July. Did you guys know that there's a mortgage, billions of dollars put in for a mortgage assistance program to be able to help people not to go into foreclosure as the states reopen and people have to start making their payments again? Did you guys know that they have that? Did you guys know that there's retroactive reimbursement for funeral expenses, for COVID-related deaths? There's all this stuff in the plan that we want you guys to know about. So I was talking to my husband and we were talking about this guaranteed income payment, which I'm going to explain in further detail to you guys, but I want to make sure that I bring him on so we can start this part of the discussion. So I was talking to my husband, and while I introduce him, I'm going to go ahead and put up the He Said, She Said screen. We were talking about it, and we had some different views. So guys, I definitely wanted to bring him on. Guys, my husband is a practicing attorney here in Georgia. Not only that, he is a graduate of Princeton University. So I want to make sure I give him all of his props. But in addition to that, he's just an overall super smart guy. So you can hear us back here changing the setup a little bit so that I can welcome our guest onto the screen. Guys, please help me welcome none other than my husband, Bernadette Wright, Derek Wright, to the set. Guys, we are here and we are excited to be here. Welcome to Unfiltered.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
You know, guys, this is my first time having someone on the set live, like on the set with me, to be able to co-host the show with me. So I'm going to move my mouse over here so that I can bring some of your comments onto the screen because you guys know how we do. We like to make sure that you are fully engaged. And I see Katrina King Flukas there said, yes, we have to stay woke. So guys, listen, Derek, I was talking to you about this, and I know you had an opportunity to look at it because I want to kind of focus for a second on this piece of the legislation. So guys, there's going to be $3,600 available additional each year to families to families who have children under 6, and then $3,000 additional available to families who have children 6 and older. Okay, so if you are a couple who has 2 or 3 kids, you're talking about an additional $10,000 to $11,000 a year in guaranteed income. It's not in the form of what we would see as a traditional tax credit. Instead, they're going to start sending out monthly payments starting in July. You're going to start receiving checks of, $250 to $300 per child. And this isn't something that had been talked about. But when I saw it, I was like, I wonder why we don't know this. I wonder why people don't know about the mortgage assistance. I wonder why people don't know, that you may or may not be eligible for this paycheck protection that went to all these corporations and the little people didn't get. I wonder if they know that they can get these COVID funeral expenses brought back. But when I was talking to my husband, we tend to have different perspectives on things. That's why this episode is called He Said, She Said. And what was your immediate response when I told you that they were going to start doing guaranteed monthly payments from the government to these households?
Well, as you can tell, I'm a little bit older than my dear young wife. I remember the word welfare, and I remember Mother's Day, which happened every month. That was when your government checks arrived. And
so they called it Mother's Day?
Mother's Day.
Okay. Is that an Ohio thing?
That was across the country.
Okay,
there might be some folks, near my age that might remember that we used to call every month was the first of the month when the government checks came. You called it Mother's Day. But the point is that welfare system was conflicted. It penalized you for trying to uplift yourself, go work, go get income. It even was against having a complete family, because if you got married, if you got a job, then those government checks would be reduced or eliminated. So it really discouraged somebody from lifting themselves up off of the government checks. And that's that welfare mentality you might hear historically used to happen, where you might generate children and generations living all in the same sort of, well, in Cleveland, I used to work at a project, and you might see 3 generations of people getting government checks, but not being in a position to get off of those checks.
So that's interesting. So when I saw this, I immediately thought, why don't people know about it? And I thought, okay, well, I understand the whole welfare conversation, of course, because there's just been a system of welfare that's happened that's made people dependent on the government, when, of course, we can do so much more. But here's the deal. What about the bailouts that happened? Do you guys remember the bailouts in 2008? Even the bailouts that are still happening? We watched during COVID as a lot of this paycheck protection money went to these corporations who were making way more money during COVID than they've ever made, but they weren't using it to hire people. So I looked at that and I said, well, there's corporate welfare. So what is the difference between the corporations being bailed out and people who have children being bailed out during coronavirus?
It really comes to the inequity of the rich versus the poor. And fortunately, this is more of an income allowance that won't be based on whether or not you work, whether or not you're married. So they've eliminated some of the evils of the past. However, it's still absolutely affected by the fact that the very rich, the corporations that often don't pay taxes and aren't subject to the same rules, continue to make profit in these situations, where the question starts to become, I guess, in my mind, what are we really trying to achieve by giving these allowances? Are we really trying to help people? And I'm going to say the word, a social safety net, because, America hates that word, social.
Right.
Or is there some other agenda? Because it's also creating a dependency. If you start to count on these checks come in every month, and I believe the act, it's only 1 year, I think initially, so it's going to have to be renewed.
But listen, I did want to tell you this part. So it's only 1 year initially, but they're pushing to be able to make it a permanent payment that will go to families who have children. So there's 2 sides of this. You see the side where, of course, people can get stuck in a welfare mentality. I see the side where I see people being able to pay for their childcare so that they can go to work. And the question becomes, how do we teach people how to use the additional income? So I even look back at, what happened with unemployment, and people were getting, $1,000 a week or $1,200 a week, even with the PPP where people were getting the money. The question becomes, how are they using it? Talk to us a little bit about that, because this could really be an opportunity for us to come up and not get tricked. Do you see what I'm saying? Because you get the money, you spend it, you get tricked. Katrina sent me a picture the day stimulus checks came out. There was a line, y'all, wrapped around the Gucci store. Okay. And I'm going, y'all are wrapped around the Gucci store. Why aren't we investing the money back in the community the way it was meant to be? Louis Vuitton don't need your money. Gucci does not need our money, but our community does. Why not start that business and take this additional income to do something with that? So it's a matter of perspective on how you use it. Talk to us about, your thoughts on what happened with unemployment and how it's just affected the job market. You're an employer.
Well, I would say, remember, this new allowance is supposed to attack child poverty. But there's a basic assumption that the parent that receives it will use it for the benefit of the child. Same thing with the unemployment. To a degree, it was to say, hey, if you lost your job because of COVID, here you go, so you can keep it moving and recover. But again, there's this basic assumption that people will use money, resources, allowances in a way that is truly beneficial to them, as opposed to a consumer mentality. And unfortunately, while it will help some, we are so materialistic and consumer driven that are the parents going to use it for daycare, or are they going to use it to get them rims, on the car? Are they going to use it to the Gucci store? Are they going to use it where it's just come and gone, which is what profited the businesses? Because again, when consumers spend money, businesses make money, but that's not helping society or our community. So if you don't layer on some sort of education to our community to utilize these stimulus checks, unemployment checks, allowances, things of that nature, have we really helped us? Or is this another level of dependency that we're now creating, where not only are we dependent on the government, but we're now feeding right into big business. Right. And we haven't improved ourselves.
You're making some excellent points. I want you to speak to this. Tanisha Go Getter Jackson, thank you for joining us. She said if they want to get people off welfare, then they need to invest in financial education, aka financial literacy. And it's so funny because I often have these wonderful conversations with Nanette Roll, because she loves to talk about finances and she's well versed in it and she has a passion for teaching people about it. Nanette, maybe this is something you could, start doing, but speak to the fact that they're putting money into just printing all this money, and there's consequences for that, right? They're just printing all this money and giving it out and not teaching people how to use it, which goes back to the lottery. Most people who win the lottery do what? They end up broke again because no one taught them how to use it. So what are your thoughts on the fact that, okay, I hear what you're saying, but there's nothing in the stimulus package that teaches financial literacy. So where do we go from there? What do we do about that?
I think the concern they had this time around was, if you remember, when welfare went from just guaranteed payments, then they changed it to, you're going to get the food stamps, you're going to get payments that are directed for specific things such as food. When you mention about, well, how about something that goes to education? The question is, how well will that work? One, does a consumer mentality accept it and receive it? And you often heard some political parties would say, hey, it should be related to how hard are you trying to find a job, or how much are you trying to work? It should be some sort of correlation. But what did we see with food stamps? People coming up to you to the store saying, hey, I can give you a $50 food stamp for $20 cash. As they say, keep it real. Right. It's still,
people sell the food stamps for cash.
It did not.
For all y'all who did not know that.
Yeah, it did not change necessarily the mentality. So really, I think it's more than just finances. It's the core value of education. Because I would argue that not only do so many people not value a financial education, but aren't valuing education at all. How many conversations have you heard in the last 5 years that college may not be worth it, or isn't even a thing that should just be part of the chain of your education? So I think we're fundamentally, as a country, losing sight that an educated person usually will spend and keep a better budget of their household because they prioritize differently and maybe better.
And now you jumped us to another conversation, because I was reading a study that talked about that very issue with education. So it's not just the employment issues that I see. Dee and Roseanne posted some comments on that you can see right there, where they're talking about the fact that, Roseanne is saying that someone had to close their business because they couldn't get employees to come to work, right? And then Dee is talking about the same thing. So does the stimulus really stimulate? But what you talked about was this education piece. So there's a recent study out that talks about the fact that less people are applying to college, but it's not the wealthy people, it's not the middle class people. There are less people who are applying for college who come from disadvantaged neighborhoods because it's too expensive and because of everything that's going on. It's actually hurting the communities that need the education the most. And so it's interesting that the rhetoric, or that the propaganda about education is, oh, you don't need an education, you don't need to do this, it's too expensive. But it's filtered down into the communities that really need the education, whereas the upper echelon, they're still going to school. They're still applying for college. So what are your thoughts on that? Because it has affected us disparingly. But let's get back to this for a really quick second. Do you think the stimulus stimulated?
The stimulus helped big business and I think the upper echelon, but it did nothing to help solve the disparity between the very poor and the very wealthy. And that's sort of the problem. And what you just touched on is, to make sure you're getting your stimulus and unemployment checks, you don't do your DoorDash, you don't do your work, you don't get jobs. So from that standpoint, I often hear Bernie Sanders, he's cool in some respects, but one thing he really hits is that disparity between the very poor and the very rich continues to grow. And as he always says, it's not sustainable. And if you look at the policies, stimulus, unemployment, these allowances, the question I ask is, how is that addressing the disparity? Because more and more, if you're on that lower part, it's even harder to work your way up to the higher part, like starting a restaurant, starting a business, because where is it going to come from? But do you have the education even to be successful at business? Because I keep it real again. I can name a few places that stayed packed. The food was excellent, but they didn't know how to operate their business. So great restaurants, are no longer here. Right. Or other places where you're like, but they were packed, but they don't know how to conduct and manage the money.
So listen, there's two perspectives here. So Sekou just wrote in the comments, the stimulus money was designed to be spent, and he's 100% correct. But I think what you're speaking to is, how are you spending it? Was it meant to be spent at the Gucci store, or was it meant to be spent like Alona is talking about? Her kids are different kids, not hers in particular, are staying home from school. They got to be fed, because think about this. They normally go to school and they eat their breakfast and their lunch, but now they got to be fed breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And some people are taking the stimulus checks and going to the grocery store. Some people taking them stimmies, and you see all of the TikToks where stimmy this, stimmy that. And I'm like, really? Like singing about how they're going to waste their stimulus check, but they ain't paying their rent. But that's a whole nother conversation. So I'm glad we're having this conversation, Derek. We're getting a lot of feedback regarding this. And I hear Demetrius saying, Sekou, I agree, but did we spend it in the right places? So that's what this conversation is really about. And I think your concern about welfare is justified. But at the same time, my concern about making sure that people have access to this money and know it's there and know how to get it. Because if I look at what happened with the corporations in 2008, and if I look at what's happening with the corporations even now during coronavirus, baby, they thriving. So our people should be thriving. So it's more important now than ever that you guys are here on Unfiltered and other places getting educated about what to do, where the money is, and how you should be trying to double your money. Like, not just trying to be like, oh, I got to come up because I got me a Tiffany bracelet. That ain't it. So do you have any closing thoughts before we get to our Be Blessed segment and do the giveaway for today?
I guess my thoughts is, we want to help people that truly need help. Unfortunately, some folks are self-destructive based on their decisions. I mean, I benefit from stimulus. Why? Because I've been paid in attorney's fees from stimulus checks. I mean, literally.
That's a great way to spend your stimulus money. Attorney Derek Wright, attorney at law.
I'm going to be with you Friday when that check comes in.
Right.
So the point being is, yes, it does filter, and there are some positives, but again, always ask yourself, okay, what's the catch? What else is this going to do? And is this creating a reliance or a mentality where someone rather sit, puff, puff, pass, and not work and get checks and do all the things they shouldn't be doing? Or are we promoting people to say, hey, I'm going to work, I'm going to get educated, I'm going to build that business, I'm going to get up at 9 in the morning and work till 7 at night and build something that I'm not dependent on a government, I'm not dependent on political parties, so that I am self-dependent, can care for my children, and I'm not, God forbid, making kids because I want to increase my allowance.
That's interesting, because the Clinton administration, and then we're going to take a break and get to the giving and come back for some closing thoughts. But the Clinton administration actually did the welfare to work. And then the next administration took it away and said, you don't have to work anymore to get welfare. It's kind of like, well, what game are we playing here? So guys, be mindful. All of this money that's being printed is just being printed because they detached the dollar from being tagged along with gold a long time ago, guys. Well, so there's going to be consequences down the road. And here on Unfiltered, we're going to be talking about that and how you can protect your families. But for now, you want to give away some money?
They show me the money.
Okay, so we're going to do it different, because we have my co-host here on He Said, She Said. There's this little pink piece of paper here. I'm going to go to music. You guys know how we do it. First of all, I need someone to look at how many subscribers we have on YouTube and tell me that number. And again, the Flucus team is sponsoring a portion of today's giveaway. So I'm going to have Derek, while you guys are putting your numbers in the chat, write a number 1 through 100 on here, but go step out the camera, because some people try to be slick. So write your numbers. While he's writing his number on there, guys, we are going to go ahead and do how we do and get the music started. Well, you guys will have about a minute to type your numbers. It's down there, 1 through 100. And so, guys, here we go. Oh, he's not going to show it to me. No. He's not going to show it to me. You guys, you have a minute? Okay, thank you, Avril. I see we're at 165 subscribers. Thank you. I don't know. My mom keeps putting 188. Come on, y'all. All right, type your numbers up. We're watching. Oh, but I do need to know it's like Oh, look. All right. Come on, guys. 1 through 100. Tanisha said, Avril, you're too high. Tanisha, we love you. I think that's because she must be telling me how many YouTube subscribers, so you guys will know a portion of what you're getting today. All right, come on, guys. I see those numbers. I see you, Antoine, at 15. I see the new wife is joining us. Welcome, Deora Smith, at 89. I see you, Deborah Adderley. Welcome at 70. Nanette's at 34. I believe I saw Diana Alcacer up there as well. Let me scroll back up. Guys, I am loving this. 65 for Princess Kendrick. I see Diana Alcacer. Welcome to the broadcast. Hey guys, welcome. We are seeing all your numbers. Jackie, I got you at 73. Welcome. We got hey Alona, I see you coming in at 86. We got a few more seconds, guys. If you're just now hopping on, type 1 through 100 in the chat box. We are in our Be Blessed segment where we're doing our giveaway, guys. I see y'all. Gifties coming in at 23, guys, and I think we are about ready. And no, because this segment is being sponsored by Flucus Realty, as you guys can see, the Flucus team, I'm calling Flucus Realty into existence, apparently. The Flucus team, no, Katrina, you cannot play. So, guys, remember, finding a home can be difficult, but it doesn't have to be. The Flucus team, they're our realtors. We would love for them to be your realtors too. You see their phone numbers right there on the display, guys. So let's do it. Okay, we are Okay, so we got a bunch of jokesters over there in the chat, but Derek, he almost didn't want to show me the number, but I told him he had to show me the number. Did Tiffany just say, "Oh my God, I won"? I ain't even listed the number yet. Okay, guys, really. So, Derek, do you want to show your post-it note up there and show everybody what the number is? Okay, nobody can see it. Like, put it in the camera. 77. Guys, today's number, as picked by my co-host, is 77. And I believe we do have someone who was right on the money. That would be none other than Diana Alcocer. Congratulations. You are the winner today of $165, which will be sent to you via Cash App or Apple Pay or whatever your preferred payment is. Plus, we are also going to be sending you an Unfiltered t-shirt. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for participating. I want to see if we've got here again. These are going to be our sponsors right here. I do want to make sure that you guys are aware of how to get in touch with us. Send a message to beblessed@bcwright.com. Of course, if you were connected to me on Facebook, then just send me your information for Cash App, Diana, or for Apple Pay or your preferred method, as well as your t-shirt size and your address. So guys, regardless of where you stand or what your position is on this guaranteed monthly paycheck that's coming to your mailboxes soon, if you're eligible and you have children, we do have to always think that there are two different perspectives, right? And we always have to make sure that those funds are being used wisely while they are lobbying to make sure the money continues to come. We also want to make sure that you guys are educated and understand that there's a way to spend that money, because I'm happy to see everyone here who has children be able to get the support they need. But then there's the other side of that too, where you want to make sure that it's not creating a dependency on the government in the same way that some of the increased unemployment checks did, where people didn't even want to go to work, because that's had an impact on people as a business owner. So before I tell everybody goodbye, you want to say some closing thoughts?
I understand. I want the best for everyone. I think as we prosper, we have an obligation to make sure everyone else prospers, especially the children. So we can get rid of child poverty. We can raise our education levels and just push everything forward. We need to do that, but we need to do it effectively, not just don't throw money at a problem. People, you can throw money at a problem, but that's not going to eliminate the problem. That if anything, it might be enabling the problem. So stop being a consumer, be an investor, and learn about Bitcoin.
Yeah, because we're going to talk about that too. So you guys, listen, guaranteed monthly payments are coming. You guys get educated on it, be expecting it, know that it's coming. The IRS is going to have a tool where you can calculate what your payments will be if you have children. In addition to that, you'll be able to track those payments. Okay, so make sure you understand that. Mortgage assistance, a lot of people put their mortgages on hold. People don't know that there's billions of dollars there to help you catch up on those payments to avoid foreclosure. I need you guys, if you need assistance in this area, to Google mortgage assistance under the American Rescue Plan, so you know where to go. The money has already started being sent to the states to help, okay? In addition to that, if you've had a loved one who passed away from COVID, we want to make sure that you guys are aware that they are actually reimbursing those funeral expenses, even for, I think it's like from February or January of 2020 through present. So if you lost a loved one, take advantage of that and get those expenses reimbursed, because I've never seen anything like this in history. And I want to make sure the viewers of Unfiltered benefit from everything that's out there to help you and your family. So guys, thank you so much for joining us for He Said, She Said. This is going to be a monthly segment on Unfiltered with my husband, attorney Derek Wright. And this is BC Wright signing off. So until next time, be blessed and stay woke.
Let her in this.